Hey guys, this is Wolf of Dimensions coming at you with my first promised movie review. I'm here with a movie in a galaxy far, far away. We start off with a young boy named Luke Skywalker, an old wizard, a sassy princess, and a duo of rough and tough smugglers. With a rebellion brewing and an all-powerful force that demands to be restored, this builds up to be an epic tale years in the making. Now, we start off this with this being a major film, it comes with a lot of legends and a lot of stuff involved. Now, we can start off with the major plot point and the major thing in this movie, the Force. It surrounds us, binds us, it keeps the galaxy together. But what's its importance to the film? The Force is created by cosmic energy and mainly by all living things. You, me, the trees, the rocks, anything alive. The rocks are the cosmic ones, by the way. It states that the basis of the Jedi Order and gives the Jedi and Sith their power. Without the Force, there wouldn't be any Jedi and probably no lightsabers. In this movie, it's used more of a cosmic base to set up Luke's training. It's not really as important as it is in 1, 2, and 3, or 5 and 6. In those, it becomes a major point. But in this, it just sets up Luke's training and his family lineage. Next, we're going to discuss the main enemy of this movie, the Empire. Now, as we'll discuss later, we'll get into it as we get into 1, 2, and 3, the Empire took over and now stands on the ashes of the Old Republic. To keep control over all these star systems that they have, what they do is they make a battle station that can destroy planets, which everyone should know as the Death Star. And they try to do this. What they do is to destroy the rebellion. They make this giant station, and they capture one of their biggest, if not biggest supporter, Princess Leia. As they capture her on her way to Alderaan, they decide to try to get the info of where the rebel base is. They're not able to fully accomplish this with truth serum or anything, or even by blowing up her home planet of Alderaan. So they're going to plan to execute her. But the heroes later save her. Now, we're going to start discussing our other heroes' beginnings. After the Great Purge of the Jedi, Obi-Wan took Luke to Tatooine to watch over him. As Luke grew, the rebellion grew with him. The rebellion had no major wins until the Battle of Yavin, and it was because of a Jedi as the only reason that they had ever moved forward. After Luke ends up with the droids holding the plans for the rebellion's much-needed victory, he is thrust into the rebel ranks. And of course, these two droids are R2-D2 and C-3PO. He goes on board the Millennium Falcon with Obi-Wan, the droids, and 2 smugglers, Han Solo and Chewbacca. Now, of course, I'm not going to discuss the whole who shot first, Han or Greedo, because that's had enough hype as it is. With Han Solo promised 17,000 in credits, he feels this would be an easy job. But to the surprise of our unlikely band, Alderaan has been blown away, and they have been taken aboard the Death Star itself. After turning off the generator, a much-planned escape by Obi-Wan, saving the princess, and fighting the Empire, most of our heroes escape. But this leads to the point of sacrifice. On the ship, as Obi-Wan is trying to return, he runs into Darth Vader. Now, it's been years, about 30 or so years since the Master and the Apprentice have met, with Darth Vader now becoming a master of his own element. And, they fight, they duel, and they get to the point where Obi-Wan could easily try to run to the Millennium Falcon, but if he did, he'd most likely be killed anyways. So instead of trying to risk everything, instead of trying to save his skin, he sacrifices himself so that Luke can get away to save the rebellion. So as he stated, he's too old to keep doing this, so he had no reason to try to waste efforts on this. Besides, later on, as we find out, he becomes a ghost through the Force, a skill only learned at the beginning by Qui-Gon Jinn, who taught it to Yoda, who taught it to Obi-Wan. Now, after going to Yavin, which is the rebel base at the time, they set up the final run against the Death Star, which which ends up being the rebels' first victory of blowing it up. Now, the odds of them blowing this thing up were, what, 1,000,000 to 1? And the only reason that they were able to do it is because they had a Jedi on their side. Now, if you want to get technical, I mean, it was possible. Luke said it was possible, but the skill to do it required an extra bit of power. Now, first off, I'm going to do a fun little counter of how many limbs have been chopped off in each Star Wars film. So far, with the alien on Tatooine, that is one limb cut off. And next we will discuss the lightsabers, because the lightsabers change movie to movie. And this movie's lightsabers fights and the lightsaber abilities and what they look like are different than each other movie. Now, for the first movie, actor Alec Guinness had some training in fencing, and the other guy was overpowering. What it was supposed to be is that they couldn't do all the fancy flips and stuff because they were both old men, basically. They've grown for years. One of them's disabled with many different body parts. So instead of trying to do flips and fancy moves, their whole basis is trying to swing as hard as they can and hopefully get a hit in. Also, the lightsaber blades are thinner in A New Hope than a lot of other ones, unless you watch Star Wars Rebels, and my god, I cannot stand how thin those blades are. But my point is that it's supposed to be because of the technology at the time. You couldn't get a full look all the time with the lightsabers because of what they used. And there's even Obi-Wan, there's a cord sticking out of his arm which is plugged into the lightsaber itself if you focus closely. But my point is that Darth Vader's actually has an explanation for this. Darth Vader's synthetic crystal is supposed to not be that big. And when he switches to The Empire Strikes Back, he gets a bigger Kyber crystal, not a synthetic Sith crystal, which means that it's more full, it's bigger, and it's able to set up better. Now that we've gotten over that and we've discussed the tactics here, I'd also like to make the point of the stormtroopers, because, they're well known for being horrible shots and making dumb mistakes, especially the one that hit his head on that door. Now, besides that, of course, they're not as good as clones, because clones were military trained in group combat, special forces, and were from a bounty hunter. But if you look closely at the clones, or not the clones, the stormtroopers that shoot in the Imperial raid at the beginning of A New Hope, they easily outmatch all the rebels, and for a good reason. They outmatch every single rebel there because they are Darth Vader's personal. They are trained to be amazing. It's like the Emperor's elite guards. Those are the stormtroopers that are the best of the best, and they're not even just taken from the best of the best. They're put through more grueling, tormenting training. That's why you don't see that many good ones, because really the only good troops are under major generals. And the last thing I want to discuss is the ego of the Empire at the time. That's why they lost. The Empire lost the Battle of Yavin for one good reason. They had decided it'd be best to not put into account that they could win. Now, of course, at the beginning of the movie, you'll see that the one guy does, the guy who's in charge of the Imperial Starship fleet. He says, if the rebels have obtained a technical readout, however unlikely, they could find a weakness and destroy it. Everyone else seems to be very skeptical about this. And Grand Moff Tarkin even refused, even when they saw that there was a flaw in the plan that could blow them up, he decided to stay on board or not go back. That's what the problem was for the Empire. That's why they lost. The only person who seems to have a sense of more of what the dangers are has always been Darth Vader, because he's experienced firsthand what it feels like to get destroyed by an opponent. He knows that you can't just simply sit there and take things for as they are. You have to work with it. You have to change your strategy up, do whatever it takes. And that's why he's considered one of the best Sith Lords. It took that humility and loss for him to actually get over this and to learn from his experiences. We'll get more into Darth Vader as these movies progress, because he was only in this movie for about 12 minutes. His importance to this movie is to set up a villain arc, and to set up later the Chosen One arc. So, this is my review for A New Hope, and I hope to be coming back to you. The pun, get it? I hope to be coming back to you very soon with The Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi, then the prequels. It's been fun. Have a nice day. Hope to see you again.